Everybody, this is Jason Creel. This is a Lawn Care Life. In this video, I'm going to show you 12 cringe-worthy moves I see people make with lawn care equipment. You may agree with them, you may disagree. Let me hear from you. Also, you can add to the list in the comments or tell me where I'm wrong. And let's get started right now with some cringe-worthy moves with the lawn care equipment. These are in no particular order. Number one, blowing your clippings out onto the sidewalk, out in the street, and even worse than that, blowing them out there and just leaving them. You see people and they just blow their grass clippings all out in the middle of the road and just leave it. I think that's ridiculous. If you have that bad habit, the least you can do is just blow them back in the yard when you get done. And please don't just take the clippings and blow them over in your neighbor's yard or out in your neighbor's side of their road, because that's even worse. Second cringe-worthy maneuver is not making straight lines. Okay, I have people criticize me and my mowing when I show stuff on YouTube that it's not straight, and I think, well, it's pretty straight. But you know what I'm talking about. Some people just have no attempt to even make a reasonably straight line mowing their yard. The third thing I want to mention is leaving a tire mark every single time you turn. Yes, they're zero-turn mowers. Yes, it's great that they can turn on a dime, but it's not always ideal for mowing the grass, because if you just like to go to the end of the road and just whip it around as fast as you can, then that often will leave a tire mark in the yard. So a nice, gentle three-point turn often works better than just whipping it around and showing your zero-turn capabilities. Let me demonstrate the incorrect and also possibly the correct way to do this. You can see the first time I made a nice little tire mark in the grass from just whipping it around on a dime. It didn't take much more effort just to do a nice gentle three-point turn, which was much easier on the turf. This can be even worse if the grass is thin, or you're on a slope, or if the grass is wet. So you got to be a little careful making your turns. Another move that can make you just cringe-worthy, and this one can be a pain to clean up, is when you've got wet grass in the morning and you come out onto the driveway to make your turn. This can leave some nasty tire marks and grass smeared into the driveway that literally can take months to wear off, or you may have to even get a pressure washer out there. Customers do not like this. So a couple of major problems when you do this. One, you've got wet grass underneath the deck that often just throws all over the driveway. It's a pain to blow it off. But even worse than that, you can see these tire marks and the grass just gets smeared into the driveway. It really does not look good, and a blower is not a quick fix for this. Yes, the blower can help get some of the grass clippings off even if they're wet, but the tire marks that are there sometimes for weeks, maybe even months. So not a good move by lawn care people. Now the next one is, I'm going to group several together because they're very similar. That is throwing your grass clippings into the flower bed or into the tree ring, or, yeah, we already talked about onto the driveway, or toward an expensive car, or toward a not expensive car, or toward a window. So you're just not being careful where you're throwing your grass clippings. So I'm going to demonstrate just throwing them straight up in the flower bed, which is also happens to be toward the house, which has windows on it. At least you can do is close your discharge if you've got some kind of chute block on there, where it's not just, you know, a little bit safer. It's still not great, I'll be honest with you. But this is something that is terrible and looks terrible and is not very professional. I had to double check, make sure I didn't break one of my windows in that demonstration. The next one involves a lawnmower, but even more particular, using a string trimmer, weed eater, weed whacker, strimmer, whatever you call it. I saw a guy one time, he was a medical doctor, educated in a very highly thought of American university, and you make your comments if you want on that. But anyway, he was out there using his weed eater, string trimmer, and with no glasses on, no ear protection, no eye protection. And I mean, you know, if you're going to lose your hearing, that's one thing. I don't want to necessarily lose my eyes. Now, some of you may think I'm being hypocritical because I often take the guards off my string trimmer, and I'll put a video up, popping up now, to show you if you want to go talk about the 5 reasons why I took the guard off. It's been a popular video, but I don't understand people's protection when they're edging or when they're using a string trimmer is to just squint their eyes. Well, that's very natural for you to squint your eyes because it's like you're worried that something's gonna get in your eyes, but squinting is not as good as safety glasses, okay? So I would recommend, highly recommend both ear and eye protection when you're riding on a lawnmower and using a string trimmer. The next one is letting your grass get way too tall before you mow it. I actually had somebody this year that wanted to know if I knew anybody that would want to come cut their grass every 6 weeks. I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't have any of my lawn care buddies that want to mow a grass every 6 weeks. They're not for less than $500. So I'm gonna use an exaggerated example here, mowing this really overgrown field. But you get the point. Sometimes people let their grass get way too tall before they mow it. It's a huge job and it looks terrible even when they get done with it because it's just never intended to get that tall before you cut it back down. The next cringeworthy move, in my opinion, is just not edging out the lawn, okay? So you're obviously going to do some weed eating, hopefully trimming, but I think a nice crisp edge just makes all the difference in the world, including around the flower beds if they don't have a border around it. So I'm going to demonstrate that on this sidewalk. I've got just a string trimmer. I'm not using a stick edger today, but it's not really that hard. It's something that can be learned with a little bit of practice. I've got a video I'll pop up now that I've had hundreds of thousands of people watch to learn how to edge with a string trimmer. So if you don't know how, you can watch that later after you finish with this video, but it makes all the difference in the world, in my opinion, of putting the finishing touches on a lawn. And I don't think a lawn care professional should leave this undone when mowing the grass. I'm not quite done with the list, but as always, if you've got something to add to the list or you want to disagree, leave a comment below. You can see this edge is not very well maintained, so I can at least improve it. Now it's got some dirt caked up here. That's going to be hard to make that look great. I need to actually take a shovel. And then over here on this flower bed, again, no border, but I can clean up that edge with my string trimmer and make it look a lot more presentable. If you guys think me using no guard on my trimmer should be added to the list, you can let me know below. I know a lot of people feel strongly about that one way or another. Ideally, it's not a dust bowl when you do it because there's a bunch of dirt caked up on the sidewalk. Let me see if I can make something happen on this flower bed. Like I like to say, it may not win yard of the month, but hopefully it'll get me out of last place. And like many things, if you do that on a regular basis, it'll become easier as that edge becomes more established. Another cringeworthy move that I want to mention that's also dangerous, I'm not going to demonstrate, but make sure there's not other people around, including children, obviously. This morning I was out cutting grass and my children were out in the backyard playing. I had to tell them, I said, listen, you guys have to go inside for a little bit. Let me finish mowing the grass. So use common sense about that. Yes, we've got chute blocks and things on the mowers, but don't put all your confidence in that. Use some common sense and don't let children or adults for that matter be around when you're mowing grass. Hey, one that you might want to add if you think this is cringeworthy is me. When I was edging right there, I walked backwards for a short part of the time. Some people get all worked up if you're walking backwards and not forwards. To me, it's not that big a deal. The next cringeworthy move I want to show you is weed eating or string trimming with shorts on. I don't think that's a good move. I'm going to demonstrate today. and it gets grass all over you at best case scenario. Worst case scenario, you're hitting yourself in the legs with rocks, and I just don't like it. So I tend to wear long pants, even long sleeve shirt when I'm working out in the yard, but for today I'm just going to demonstrate what it's like to wear shorts. Sometimes I have to work in these videos to show you that I can actually still run lawn and care equipment. Now I got grass all over my legs, down in my boots. I just don't like that. We're not wearing pants when I'm using lawn and care equipment. Another cringe-worthy move is not having a level cutting deck. Now this is actually not caused from that. This is because I was on this slope and it kind of dug in. But oftentimes you don't have a level cutting deck, and what happens is it digs and it'll make uneven cuts the whole way across the yard. It'll look something like this. You can see that's obviously higher. It's dug in there, so it may brown out the lawn, and it just has all these ridges all over the lawn. So it doesn't look good. One of the most common causes for that is simply one tire being lower than the other. So you may have to drop the air out of one tire or have some way to put air back into the other tire. That's not always the cause. It could be something else causing it, but oftentimes it's just a low tire. If this does happen, you can smooth this out with a string trimmer if it's just one or two places, but if it's all over the yard, then it's terrible and it's gonna look horrible on your yard. You're gonna basically have to get the problem fixed and then go back and recut the yard to make it look right. Let me see if I can get this smoothed out where it'll look more presentable. Sometimes there's only so much smoothing you can do if it's dug down deep. You don't want to cut the whole area down that low because you're going to make the whole area brown. Another cringeworthy move, in my opinion, is not blowing off the actual porch. So in this situation, somebody might come in here and blow off the sidewalk, but not take time to walk up those 4 or 5 steps to blow the porch off. I've seen that, or they just forget to blow off the back patio or something like that. But it's like, come on, man. I mean, yes, you didn't necessarily make the mess that's on the porch. There's not grass clippings, but to me, it just looks so much better. Go ahead and finish the job and blow the porch off too while you're at it. And the last one I want to mention is leaving grass clippings piled up all over the yard. If you've got a yard that you know is tall, you might want to wait and cut it later in the day when it dries out. Don't do it first thing in the morning while the grass is still wet, because it's going to clump even worse. Also, you can fix this oftentimes with a blower, or you can just run back over with your lawnmower again. Oftentimes if I go back over the second time with the lawnmower, I'll raise the deck a little bit and try to disperse the clippings that way. If it's really bad, you might go over with a mulching mower and come back over with a bagging mower to help get rid of some of the clippings that way. That's obviously going to be a lot more work. What I don't do is get out there with a rake and rake them. I'd rather run over the yard 5 times with a lawnmower than get out there with a rake and start raking. That's just my personal opinion. Let's see if I can get these clippings dispersed. Another thing you can do, you can change your mowing pattern. If you know that it's leaving a lot of clippings, 1, you might have to raise the deck height so it's not leaving as much clippings. 2, you may, instead of going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, you're going to leave a row of clippings every single time you make a pass. Or you might could actually do a different pattern. Let me see if I can demonstrate with my finger. I might go down this way and then come back this way and then go out this way, and then every time I'm going wider and wider and wider. So you're still getting some straight lines, but every time you're blowing the clippings toward the outside, where when you get done you only have 2 lines of clippings instead of 74. Hey, I really appreciate you watching the video. Add to the list, disagree, agree, whatever you want in the comments section. Like the video. Also, if you're thinking about getting into weed control and fertilization business, or mowing business, or mosquito spraying business, you can go to lawncarelife.com. There's resources available for you there. Also, if you're thinking about going to the Equip Expo this year, which used to be called the GIE Plus Expo, then there's a link in the description to save you 50% off your registration, or you can just enter Lawn Care Life, all one word, when you check out as your promo code to get 50% off. Appreciate you guys watching. There's some more videos popping up on your screen now. We'll see you in the next video.